Hello, everyone. My name is Antonio Cruz, and I'm going to be going over my final paper topic presentation. And I think that there's not enough time for me to kind of explain everything I want to, but I'm going to cram it in there and kind of go over what I'll be talking about. So my final topic was how fracking corresponds to climate change and social inequality. I think that there are some big points there that everyone would find interesting. So, kind of my quick outline here, I've got my introduction, what is fracking, impacts of fracking on climate change, social inequalities and communities impacted, and the fracking industry update, kind of present day, what's going on with that. And finally, of course, my conclusion. So, a quick introduction to kind of keep things rolling here is that my uncle was playing AA baseball in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and the people he was staying with there dealt with some actual real life side effects from fracking, like water contamination. So, they were on water advisory in their hometown in Pennsylvania because of fracking leakages and chemicals that had gotten in their aquifers and their water supply, and just some really crazy stuff. So that's kind of what inspired me to kind of investigate and research just kind of the outlining things of fracking. So moving forward, going to be talking about here what is hydraulic fracturing, aka what we know as fracking. So hydraulic fracturing is the process of creating fissures in underground formations to allow natural gas to flow. So we dig down with this pipe and we basically set off explosives, and I'll show you and talk about the process, but it allows this like convection of oil and gas that we've never had and seen before to get sucked up into this big tube, and it goes into trucks, and it's a crazy process. I recommend YouTube videos to kind of catch you up on a good visual. And the other part is kind of my historical background. I did just a quick little research. The first hydraulic fracturing, event, or whatever you want to call it, it was in 1947, so a long time ago, but it's been really modernized now. And they're using the new technique here called horizontal drilling, which is in the next slide. I'll show you a picture of kind of how that goes. And basically, it drills into this, shale, and shale gas typically contains over 90% of methane, and methane is, obviously, we know, a huge contributor to global warming, CO2 emissions, at this point, we all know what methane is. So the visual of the fracking process here it shows you here, you've got this big structure set, the drilling rig, it goes down. You can see the fractures that are created, and those fractures are created by these small explosions that go off. So, pretty scary stuff. I would not want that happening around my part of town, which, I've been very privileged and fortunate. But some people aren't, and they have to deal with that. And you can see the wells and the water aquifers happening like that. So it's really interesting to see that, and the sand and chemicals that goes within those pipes, which is really just dangerous. And you can see the truck to the left here on this photo. It's a finicky process that if anything goes wrong, it's a disaster. So, talking about the impacts of fracking on the climate, which it's quite severe because, first of all, fracking pollutes groundwater, like you saw there. Obviously, those pictures weren't promoting groundwater being contaminated, but you could see how easy it is for just anything to get down there, debris, chemicals, all this types of just fluids getting down there and contaminating the water. You can see how that could really affect people and their water supply. So I just find it crazy that the drilling just can allow chemicals like methane to be contaminated in your water. I just find that kind of sickening, and it's unfair that people don't have a say kind of in that aspect. Another is, we kind of touched on it, was the increase in greenhouse gases with obviously drilling into this shale and exposing large amounts of methane. And an interesting fact I saw was that methane leaks rates are as high as 79% or 7.9%, which is wild, almost 8%, which is worse than coal. So it's like, what are we doing? It's supposed to be greener and better for the environment, but it's actually ruining our soil, our water, and our air. So moving forward, the crazy kind of investigation thing that I found was the link to causing more earthquakes. I'm like, why is there earthquakes happening in West Texas and Oklahoma? It's kind of wild, but kind of those areas are finding more seismic activity, and it's just, again, another con of fracking. Moving forward here, kind of a big part I wanted to touch on was the social inequalities and communities impacted part. A lot of these fracturing or fracking wells are located in areas by the companies and whatever in lower class, lower income places. You don't see fracking happening in your nice suburbs or whatever. It's way out, kind of in these remote areas in smaller towns, and some of them are highly populated, and it's really sad to see them force the brunt of the air pollution or water contamination. I'm coughing like I'm got air pollution in my house here, so I can't imagine what it's like living like that every day. Really, the powerful. We've kind of been on this theme the whole class time, but powerful capitalists and powerful politicians who get to decide where things go and place and regulations need to have some kind of control on this, because it really is just sad to see something like that, where lower class people who have no say are being affected, and it makes you want to do something. At least me, as a good Samaritan, I want to just do my part and try and help, and that's kind of why I'm talking about it now. Lastly, here on this page, the Scientific American, which is a great website, kind of talks about the demographics in Pennsylvania, showing that 7 out of 9 fracking wells were placed where people live below the poverty line, which I'm like, whoa, that's just, these people are fighting for their lives just to scrap by, and now they have to deal with water contamination and air pollution and potentially earthquakes. So I'll be touching more about that in my paper, but just think about it, right, guys? That's crazy to see. Kind of the fracking industry update. Recently in the UK, they've had an investigation for the past 2 years against fracking that proved that cancer-causing chemicals were found in children near fracking well sites, which is, very scary. And it's just, I can't imagine living like that. Anyways, oil and gas has a very uncertain future, as we know. With global warming and climate change and just the new policies, it's crazy to see how that's changing, and hopefully we move from that. And as we know, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is studying new ways that we can move on from fracking, and it's got a large impact on contaminating water. We've kind of seen this theme on and again, so really brutal with that. So I hope that we can figure something out on that front. My conclusion, gonna conclude this up, and I want to keep going. But I need to be within the time frame for everyone. I think that if we can reuse energy, focus on ways like solar panels and windmills and using water, and we just need to really focus on that. I feel like we don't focus enough about how we can help, generate more electricity, and maybe we do, but I feel like we have enough technology to come up with that factor to help really change everything and help this earth. So that concludes my presentation. My works cited, and thank you very much.